What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I am back from another video. This time once again, we're going to look at some of the best MVPs of all time from the last decade. What I want to do today, I want to look at all those MVPs and their best MVP moment and their statement game. And when looking at these players, I'll give stats, context, some background info, and even some actual game film to show how dominant these players were in their MVP statement game. Now with all that being said, let's get into the video. So first up on our list, we go back to 2011 with Derrick Rose. And D-Rose's MVP is kind of controversial, but in my own personal view, he was the rightful winner that year. And when looking at his best games, his MVP moment came versus Orlando in one of the very last games of the season. And at this point, Chicago had won 59 games and were going for 60. At this point, they had won 7 straight games and had clinched the first seed in the Eastern Conference. Now in this game, D-Rose in Orlando, he had 39 points, 5 assists, 3 boards on 77, 60, and 100 splits. And one thing I do want to point out, at halftime, they actually asked NBA players who weren't even playing in the game who the 2011 MVP was. And here's their response.
I would pick Derrick Rose.
Because?
His team now is there at the top of the Eastern Conference. He's the big reason for that. You take him off the team, and I'm not sure how good they would be.
Derrick Rose. Yeah, and I just think he's. I just keep thinking of the fourth quarter comebacks, you know, and the fact that they've had all these injuries and all that stuff. But I keep looking at the fourth quarter comebacks that he's kind of led by himself in some ways. That I would give to him.
Now D-Rose going into the fourth quarter, he had 28 points. And in the fourth, he went off for 11. And in the closing seconds, he had some game-icing free throws to give Chicago their 60th win of the season. And why I call this game a statement game, number one, Derrick Rose was fantastic. He was great in the fourth quarter. He was on ESPN, and his team clinched 60 wins, the best record in the East. Combine that all together, in this game for Derrick Rose, was his MVP statement game. Now next up, we have LeBron James in 2012. If you guys remember this year, it was a lockout-shortened season. But even with that being the case, LeBron had an historic MVP run. And the game I looked to where he sealed the MVP was in a late-season matchup versus the New Jersey Nets. Going into this game, LeBron's Heat team, they were already a top-tier team in the NBA, and they're looking to clinch a second seed in the Eastern Conference. And actually in this matchup, D-Wade was not suited up for the Heat. So LeBron -1 superstar had 37 points, 7 assists and 6 boards on insane 58, 50, and 93 splits, going 14 of 15 from the free throw line. Looking at the raw numbers, definitely a very impressive game. What made it even better is how good LeBron was in the fourth quarter, scoring 17 points, a game high, nearly outscoring the Nets team, who had 19 by themselves. And actually when looking at the fourth, LeBron only missed 1 shot, going 5 of 6 from the field, and 7 of 7 from the line. And adding even more context in that fourth quarter, LeBron only played 5 minutes and 35 seconds. In that short period, he had all 17 of Miami's points. LeBron James in this game quite literally closed out an NBA team by himself. And in the final minute, he had 2 big-time clutch shots to give Miami a 3-point victory.
This is a small to big advantage. James with a head of steam to the hoop. Don't let him get to the basket. James runs into Green. James keeps going. Fade away. He buries it.
Now looking ahead to 2013, once again, we have LeBron James. And LeBron's big-time statement game came versus the Boston Celtics, one of his big-time rivals. And coming to this game, Miami had the best record in the NBA and won 23 straight games. And in the Boston Guard, LeBron had 37 points, 12 assists, 7 boards on 55, 20, and 70 splits. And once again in this matchup in the fourth quarter, LeBron played fantastic, having 13 points, the game-tying shot, and also the game-winning shot.
Allen to trigger.
Oh my, you can't leave James.
Green guarding clock at 4. James steps into a jumper and rattles it in.
And looking past all that, the biggest highlight from this game was the infamous dunk on Jason Terry, which would revenge the 2011 finals.
To dunk this ball. Just watch as they lay it up there. Watch this. Woo!
So that late season game versus Boston, that was a statement game for LeBron, and the game he clinched MVP for the 2013 season. Now next up, we have 2014, where Kevin Durant was the MVP. And this series statement game came versus the Raptors in Toronto. In this matchup, he had 51 points, 12 boards, 7 assists, on 47, 58, and 74 splits, with 5 made 3-pointers. And for the majority of the season, including this game, he was without Russell Westbrook. And this game for me is definitely a hardwood classic, as OKC had an epic comeback, as in the fourth quarter, they overcame an 8-point deficit in 49 seconds. And that fourth quarter KD had 12 total points. And when it was all said and done, it went to double OT, where KD once again had 12 more points. And with less than 5 seconds, he hit the game-winning dagger to beat the Raptors in Toronto.
Knocked away by Johnson. Durant is going to pull up for the lead, and he drills it.
So a pretty great game for KD, scoring a career-high 51 points, and combining for 24 of those points in the fourth quarter, as well as the 2 overtimes. Now looking past Kevin Durant, next up, we have his future teammate, that being Steph Curry in 2015. And for the Warriors that year, it was definitely a dominant season, as they won 67 games, something they hadn't done in over 40 years. And Steph's big-time MVP moment came versus the Mavericks in Golden State. And from a historical standard, this game is pretty underrated, as in this matchup Steph had 51 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, on 61, 60, and 82 splits, and he added in 10 3-pointers, at the time a career high. And for Golden State in this matchup in the first quarter, they got down by 22 points. But in the third quarter, Steph and the Warriors turned it up, as in that quarter he had 26 points, and for the second half, hit a grand total of 36. And like I said before, in this game, Steph had 10 3-pointers, becoming the 5th player in NBA history to score 50 points with that many threes. And at the end of this game, he added insult to injury for his 10th and final 3-pointer.
16 from downtown, and there's one of those threes. He had 36 in the second half.
Now sticking with Steph Curry, we look at 2016. And this MVP moment is probably the most obvious moment on this list, as Steph's big-time statement game came versus OKC in Oklahoma City. In this game, Steph had 46 points, 6 assists, 3 boards, on 58, 75, and 75 splits. And in this game, Steph added in 12 3-pointers. And for Golden State, they needed all of Steph's 46 points to win this game, as early in the third quarter, they're down by as much as 12 points, but Steph in the fourth quarter scored a game-high 8, and in overtime had 12, also a game-high. And looking at the fourth quarter, they had a furious comeback, being down by 4 points with less than 16 seconds left. And of course in OT, Steph has the most iconic shot, pulling from half court on the Thunder.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
Now, sticking with the OKC theme, next up, we have 2017 with Russell Westbrook. No doubt one of the best statistical MVP seasons of all time. And I think one of the best in his career came in his second to last game of the season versus the Denver Nuggets. In this game, Russ had 50 points, 16 boards, 10 assists, on 53, 42, and 100 splits, becoming one of only 5 players to have a 50-point triple-double. Also in this game, he broke Oscar's record for the most triple-doubles in a single season with 42. And even more impressive than that, in the fourth quarter, he had a game-high 18 points when OKC was down by 13 in that very same quarter. And looking more in depth, Russ scored all the Thunder's last 15 points in this game, and with under a minute left, OKC was down by 7 points. But in that final minute, Russell Westbrook had 8 points, including this shot to seal the game.
Thunder's out of timeouts. Adams gives it back to Russ. Deep shot! What a perfect ending to a historic day!
Now next up, with a former teammate of Russell Westbrook, that being James Harden. And in 2018, James had an outstanding season. And we're looking at all the games. His one statement game came versus Orlando in Houston. In this matchup, James Harden had 60 points, 11 assists and 10 boards on 64, 35, and 94 splits. And Harden is the first and only player to have a 60-point triple-double. And by scoring 60, that is the most points in Rockets franchise history. And in the fourth quarter of this game versus the Magic, he had 18 points and multiple step-back jump shots to seal the game and give Houston a very close victory.
Harden steps back, fires. Goal! James Harden is the new scoring one-game champion for the Houston Rockets, and Calvin Murphy on his feet.
Now next up, we have one of Harden's big rivals, that being Giannis Antetokounmpo. In 2019, Giannis won his first of 2 MVPs. I think his best statement game is a pretty underrated game versus Joel Embiid. As in this game, Giannis had 45 points, 13 boards, 7 assists, 5 blocks on 59% shooting. And in the fourth quarter, he had a game-high 11 points, and his team scored an astounding 46. And looking past the offensive stats, Giannis in this game was dominant on the defensive end, locking down Joel Embiid, holding him to 37% shooting.
Embiid spinning his way, and it's swatted for Giannis. Embiid's pass deflected. It's a 3-on-2 for the Bucks. Nice pass.
Now looking at 2020, he definitely had a statement game where he put himself on the map as the rightful MVP. In this game, you may ask, was versus the LA Lakers with LeBron James as well as Anthony Davis, a highly anticipated matchup that was on national TV. And at this point in time, LA and Milwaukee had the 2 best records in the NBA. Now in this game, Giannis had 34 points, 11 boards, 7 assists on 58% shooting. He also added in a career-high 5 made 3-pointers in only 32 minutes of play. And if the game was much closer, he could have very well gone for 40 or even 50 points. But despite that, it was a big-time statement game for Giannis as well as the Bucks. And in this matchup, he held LeBron to 42% shooting and AD to 44%. Also adding on to that, he outscored LeBron and out-rebounded AD by a pretty wide margin. And the biggest moment from this game was actually when Giannis hit a 3-pointer and crowned himself as MVP and the king of the NBA.
On the floor, Antetokounmpo. 3, good!
Wow. I mean, you've got Giannis out here looking like he's Ray Allen.
Now looking at our last MVP, we have Nikola Jokic. And for Jokic, he's one of the more underappreciated MVPs in recent NBA history. And I think his big-time statement game came early in the season versus Utah. As in this game, Jokic had 47 points, 12 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals on 65, 100, and 90 splits. He added in 4 3-pointers and went 9 of 10 from the line. At face value, very good and impressive stats. What makes it even better, he was playing the Jazz, the best defensive team in the league, with Rudy Gobert, the best big man defender. In this game, he lit Rudy Gobert up, and he was unstoppable.
Player of the year, inside Jokic, little pivot, put it up and in.
Not a great shot, but boy, what a great result.
Clarkson having a terrific season as Jokic spins it up.
So for Jokic right there, he had a dominant game versus the best defensive big in the entire NBA. So that right there is our last MVP, and that is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.